just going to do a tiny bit more to this one. So, going to make this the last week on the night scenes project. So next week is next month. So we've got 2 weeks in December. So the next theme is winter scene. So if you've got anything you want to use for a winter scene as a theme, I've got 1 or 2 photographs. I'll see if I can find a few that fit the bill for that. What I thought I'd do here is, this is how far I've got, and unfortunately it's gone a bit shiny. These are the water mixable oils, and I did use some of the water mixable oil on this, but it's, for me, a bit too shiny. So that's my original sketch I did. I was thinking perhaps to have these 2 characters in, but I'm actually thinking perhaps to move them over a bit, because I wanted to include some of these characters here. I've also brought a couple of pictures just to show you. So these are both ones that I've done outside. So that one I did a couple of years ago. That's one of my favourites. I've done with nice scenes.
That's brilliant.
So I did that. That was just outside the National Gallery, 2019. That one was. So it was the winter market, Christmas market up in London. And then this one I did a couple of weeks ago. These are coated varnish because the colours have sunk a little bit in the board, which happens with oils. So this was from Waterloo Bridge, just kind of looking across, and this was sort of 2 painting sessions. So I started it 1 week and kind of got things roughed in, and then the next week I went back and did all the highlights and the lights. That's how I worked that one. I'm sort of reasonably happy. I think it's gone probably a little bit too dark. I think it probably needs a little bit more light, and actually probably would have benefited from being a bit bigger, a bit wider. It's quite a lot to take in really. It's quite a wide angle. So I wouldn't mind having another go sometime, perhaps take a bigger board and just keep this as a sketch for it. So I just thought I'd show you a couple of ones that I've done. So what I normally do with these is just take a little paint box and either have like clip-on lights or a head torch or something like that, so I can see what I'm painting and what colours I'm mixing. Unless you're under a really bright street lamp, which you can't really rely on. So that's that one. So let's just do a little bit more here. So I was thinking to try and get a little bit of her in. So I'm going to go quite dark with the head. I'm thinking, I actually put some of these fountains in, but I'm trying to scrape them back a bit because I think I want her about here.
She's very brave standing in the middle of all those shots of water, isn't she?
Well, they're running through. They're kind of, it's 2 teenagers and they're just running. So they're probably getting soaked really. But they're just having a bit of fun. I thought it was just quite nice. And again, this one was from I took a little bit of video and I just froze the frame. And she's sort of just doing that really. I just thought it was quite a nice gesture. And what I'm really trying to do is just get some darks in to start with. And then we've got these kind of mid-tones, the blues. Sort of blue greys, really. So just use some ultramarine and some brown, and a little bit crimson or magenta. Go in there. Got the leg going across like that. And then the foot is back here somewhere. A little bit black in with that, just to get that dark. Which is somewhere in there. And I think what appeals to me about this is it's not too well defined. You know, there's some slightly blurry areas. And sometimes I look at my paintings and everything looks really sharp. I quite like to have some sharper areas and some sort of softer areas, really. Softer edges, or less defined. So I think that's what kind of appealed to me about these images. I've lost shape a bit here. I think that needs to come out a bit more here. And then her arm will be kind of across here. A little bit of shadow in the face. Or a better idea would have been to establish all the figures to start with. And then her other foot will be down here somewhere, just in there. And then just a little bit of highlight. Just clean that up a little bit. Whoops. I don't like the brushes to be too wet, so I tend to just dry them once I clean them. A bit of rag. Some reds and yellows. And white, just to get that highlight of the flesh tones. Maybe a tiny bit of brown as well. And there's also a little bit of light just reflecting on the leg there. It's very much about sort of lights and darks and just interpreting that as a shape. So I think actually needs to be a bit grey behind her, just to get a face to stand out. So probably just in here, yeah, take that down a little bit in tone. I think that would help. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. And then this figure, I would then move over to sort of pop her perhaps about there. Start her off there.
I am just thinking that once you get all the water spouts in, the water
Yeah,
bits, that'll brighten the whole painting, won't it?
brighten it.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, I think I'll probably have them a bit like this. So that I quite like the colour in that, but that might be a little bit too bright. So perhaps let's just put a little bit of colour with some of this. Because some of these really sort of go almost like through a form, don't they? Perhaps that one just misses her, so perhaps about there. I must admit, I do find it I found these a really challenging subject to paint, and that's partly why I've come back to it with the images and sketches. I did do a big painting from life a couple of years ago, and just did everything from life like this size, and I just keep going back and kind of figures in and moving around. But it was okay, but I don't think it was the most successful painting. So maybe some.
It's just that the photograph looks really bright.
Really bright.
Bright, whereas the painting seems.
Yeah, it would gradually get lighter and brighter. So some of these lights down here, let's just do a couple of those. So we've got these. Get some of the kind of background colours in here. So you've got kind of these rows of lights and getting the colours around the brightest bits first.
Are you doing the top on the bottom?
Sorry? Bit of both. That's the thing, I'm trying to combine both. I don't really want them to be just like either. Yeah, I think that's the thing. And then, yeah, and they're brightest at the bottom, aren't they? I think that's the thing for me, is to try and get something that isn't just a photographic reproduction, something that's a little bit close to how I feel, you know. I think when you go and see things, you notice certain things catch your eye. There might be loads of detail in the background, they're not that important really. So
when you're trying to get those brightest whites, are you using like pure white sometimes?
I think this is, yeah, some of it is. And gradually sort of going from slightly darker to slightly lighter. So these. Yeah, I like that. And then maybe a bit, I'll get a clean brush and just go lighter still. Just that one. So this can be pure white. Let's see how this looks. So I think here. thinking something like that. I don't know that I'd want to go too much brighter than that. Because I don't want to be quite as bright as that. Perhaps something in the middle. Yeah, probably something more like that.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be.
I know what you mean. Like composition, you're thinking, do I want to bung in fluorescent all over the whole thing because it completely changes where your eyes take it to. Doesn't it?
Yeah. For me it's a matter of, and what I did here was I kind of made that a little bit warmer and a bit more glowing because at some points the curtain does light up in the middle, and to me it looked a bit half lit somehow. That's how I remember it. It's almost like, you know, your memories of it as well as what's actually in a particular photo, a particular split second in time. Really. So it's making my interpretation of the scene. Is that enough? Yep. Right, okay.